Who would like to answer? Who? Yeah.
Sorry. With the broadband, obviously I'm aware of it. However, it's not something that I've actively had to be, I don't have a political background with this whatsoever. However, Riverstone, our area, is one of the first, and if I was elected, I would be strongly campaigning to get that on the forefront immediately, because definitely we need to do that.
Look, I'll start again by prefacing my answer with saying that we are aspiring to be member for Riverstone, a local member of the State Parliament, and it's not the State Parliament that's going to be making any decisions about the NBN, it will be the federal government, and those arguments will rage, and we'll have responsibilities and worries enough at local level about the issues we are responsible for, whether it's roads or schools or police stations or bridges or level crossings and all of the issues that you've heard mentioned. It won't be a matter that's debated or decided in the State Parliament. So I am going to defer to my federal colleagues on either side of the House. They will no doubt have those arguments. I have, if I am successful, plenty on my plate to be looking for.
Thank you.
Well, actually, it is a federal issue. There's no doubt about that. So we're here to talk about state issues. That, as far as it is about technology and access to technology, and certainly the Filipino community and everybody would like to have good access to technology and internet and emails. And a lot of people want to work from home now. And they need the best email, internet access, and as much as possible, I would support that. But essentially, it's a federal issue. The biggest state issue in Riverstone is actually health, and that's an issue which concerns everybody. And Riverstone should have a hospital, and that's the thing that I'll be campaigning hardest for. All you and your families need a hospital, and we've got hundreds of thousands of people moving into the area, and we don't have a public hospital, and there's no plans for it. That's what we really need. That's one of the basic needs of Riverstone, and that's what I'll be campaigning long and hard for at the state level. Thank you.
Look, it is a federal issue, but I think you want to hear from the state candidate. If I was elected, look, I would expect that people at Riverstone would expect me as a local advocate to be campaigning to ensure that what the federal government had promised to deliver to the electorate is in fact delivered. Okay. Unlike Barry O'Farrell, who's given $2 billion back to the federal government on the Western rail line in Epping to Parramatta Rail Link. Mr O'Farrell, if you're not aware, has indicated that he doesn't want the money. I think my role is not to hand money back to the federal government, but to hold them to account to their particular pledge. I hear what you're saying in respect to other competing interests. As a local state member, my primary interest would be to deliver state-of-the-art resources and the best possible infrastructure to the people of Riverstone, and to the extent that we're the first. To put it in reverse, if you were saying to me that the federal government had announced that they were not going to deliver it, I would be advocating very firm and very vocally to make sure that it is delivered to the people of Riverstone, and to that extent I support it.
Running the Chamber of Commerce in Riverstone and Schofield, I have much more better understanding of the type of businesses and the type of people that would want an NBN in the area. And I can tell you most of the industry that's in Riverstone is manufacturing industries. A lot of people who do work there and who have factories there have conveyed to me that what they have now is fast enough. Like, they don't need to read their emails any faster than they can read them now. The main thing that Riverstone needs is infrastructure such as an overpass between Quakers Hill. I'm sure a lot of the people in Quakers Hill know. Between Quakers Hill and Windsor, there is only one overpass that goes over the railway line, and that's a small road called Westminster Avenue. You cannot get over the top of the railway line unless you actually get another overpass in Riverstone. And as for a hospital, what's the use of having a hospital if you can't get to it? We need infrastructure, not NBN at this point in time.
I think next question will be...
Yeah. Hi, I'm Raquel Guerrero. This is Area fan. really vanilla, and I will address this question to all of you. Having said and identify all the problems that electorate of Riverstone, if given an opportunity to be elected, what is your first priority to improve the electorate of Riverstone?
Okay, this time. Yes, Jim.
I was only just told not so long ago in the local papers in Riverstone that I've got a big mouth. I said, well, my reply to that question is, you need a big mouth to be able to be heard in Macquarie Street, because without a big mouth, nothing will ever get done. If I was to be elected, after I pick myself up off the floor for being elected, the first thing I'd be doing is going into Macquarie Street and making sure they know that myself, as the member for Riverstone, is there, and I will be yelling as loud as I can.
I think that's a difficult question. It depends really on what side of the fence I would be as a local member. If I was a member of the Labor government, then I would be ensuring that all the good work that the Labor government is doing at present, duplication of the rail, I would make sure that that is completed along the Richmond line. All the other infrastructure that is being laid out, if you've ever driven through the electorate of Riverstone recently, you need a hard hat to drive through the electorate. There is so much being delivered. There are roads being put in there. There's parking being put in there at train stations. There are new police stations. There's a mass of infrastructure going in there. So this myth that there's nothing is just a myth. So I'd continue that good work. If I was in opposition, what I would do is I would hold them to account. They had said that they will relieve the traffic deadlocks. They said that they will deliver transport which will be of benefit to this community, and I don't believe that they will. And to the extent that they've made promises, I would be shouting very loud and very vocally for this particular community to make sure that they're held to account for the promises that they made.
I actually agree with Gino that one of the major needs is the overpass. There's no doubt about that. I fully agree with him. But also, in the broader range of things, that is a fast-growing population in Riverstone. There's another 100,000 odd people moving in the next few years. There's also a significant ageing part of the community, and there's the young families as well. They all need one thing: they need help, and they can't all afford private insurance. So actually the number one need will be a hospital in the near future, and it should be being planned for now. There's no doubt about that. In the city of Blacktown, there's really only one major public hospital, that's Blacktown. Mount Druitt's sort of like an annex. So for over 300,000 people, we only have one hospital. That's why regularly people are getting mismanaged in that hospital. Another story came out this week of a poor woman who was not treated appropriately. That's because they're overburdened. There's not enough hospitals in the area. Thank you.
Thank you very much. There are many number one issues because there are many little communities in a seat like Riverstone. And for somebody aspiring to be a member for Riverstone, one has to take seriously all of those people and all of those local areas. So while in a global sense, perhaps the number one priority that I'd be taking to Macquarie Street is the building of the North West Rail Link, something that the Liberal Party has placed high priority on. Equally, if I'm talking Kellyville Ridge, I'm going to be talking about providing a high school for that area and Stanhope Gardens and the ponds. If I'm talking about Riverstone, clearly the overpass issue and the traffic lights at that level crossing have to be addressed. If I'm talking about Windsor, the 130-year-old bridge has to be addressed. If I'm talking about Quakers Hill, the police station has to stay. Each of those communities has its own concerns, and I don't wish to belittle any of them, and I wish to take all of those with prime importance.
If I make it as if I get through, I would obviously be fighting for infrastructure. There is absolutely no point putting people before infrastructure. With all this land release, which we've just been advised of, it's going to the same thing is going to happen with the gridlock and the situations that we are all talking about. The people have actually come before the infrastructure. So I would be making sure that Mr. O'Farrell is held accountable. So as long I will stand and support him if he is going to support the people of the Riverstone electorate, but he'll know me very well if he does not do the right thing by the community. And that's what our number one issue is infrastructure. Each and every one of these candidates have said the same thing. whether it is at Schofields, Riverstone, Windsor, Kellyville Ridge. These are all the same things. There are far too many people going in before the infrastructure. So that is what my campaign, and that's what exactly I will do if I get elected.
Next question will be from